Hello, ladies and gents. This is the Big Condo Records podcast. I'm Hayley Jane, and tonight we have a lovely guest called Holly, but she has a stage name. She calls herself Mallory Storm, which I thought was fabulous. Mallory Storm, it's got a ring to it, hasn't it? Mallory, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you come from and what you're doing up here in Liverpool.
Oh, thank you. So I've been passionate about music, all my life. I started really sort of getting involved in shows. So I used to do dancing since I was about 3 years old. I used to do musical theatre when I was younger. So that's kind of, progressed, and then obviously when I sort of left school, left like college, started going to university, I kind of came out of music for a while, even though it's always been something which I love. And then recently, about 10 years ago, I kind of started getting back more into wanting to work on my own music. It didn't really work out exactly how I was hoping it would go, unfortunately, but recently I've just kind of been taking the songs which I've been working on for the last few years, and really just trying to be a lot more motivated, and working on my own stuff, through music software. I do most of my own just production and everything at the moment. Obviously open to collaboration with people.
So you can engineer your own tracks and things.
So I've been doing it. It's been quite a slow progress because I've been trying to teach myself mostly how to use the music software that I've been using. So I used to use it when I was like at school, a different kind of software, but I haven't really done a lot since then. So it's just been it's really been a learning curve, just trying to.
But it's different this day. Years ago, when you were trying to there was no Logic Pro, there was no band. What's the band app? But there's certain apps and software that you could use. You don't need to be a professional engineer or have gone to university studying engineering for music, which helps. I've got Logic Pro on my computer, not that I know how to use it, but there are these new ways to produce your own music. You can create your own work these days if you're not getting anything.
That's it. And even though I don't, currently I'm not really, working with anyone particular. It's been amazing to work with Big Condo. Having all these amazing opportunities, meeting loads of new people, and I've only kind of recently realised how much they do, and how much they've been working with other people. Maybe further down the line I might be able to do something extra with my stuff, but I'm quite happy working on my stuff mostly myself. So
you're a solo artist, you're not in a band?
No, just
Is that the route you want to go down, stick solo?
I wouldn't put off working with a band at all, at some point, but at the moment, solo. Solo artist.
So you started off as performing arts when you was at school and things like that?
So I used to do a lot of musical theatre, so I remember one of the first shows we did was Jesus Christ Superstar, and shout out to my music teachers and my art teachers, and
there's always somebody that inspires you in school, isn't there?
They were lovely. They were always super encouraging. I was always quite not exactly shy, but I was very sort of reserved as a kid, growing up.
Me too.
So I did a lot. So it's not that I was particularly shy. I was just never really sort of
extrovert and looking for the limelight.
I kind of feel like I've kind of grown a lot more in my general sort of confidence, and just feeling more sort of generally more comfortable in myself, still working on it, but so they were amazing. We did Jesus Christ Superstar when I was at school, and my teacher said he was going to hold back the auditions for the main female part, which I actually thought was really boring, and I didn't really want it, but I really appreciated that.
That he saw lovely. The talent in you, that he was going to give you the lead role.
So thank you.
I don't want it.
But I went to the part of Judas because I thought he was
more interesting.
He just had cool songs, and I loved it, and I used to when I was 12, 13, as soon as my parents left the house, I'd be just dancing around, singing all the Judas songs. But that was probably the first kind of show that I did, musical theatre wise, and that just kind of really elevated my interest in music and my love, and it did really sort of bring to me the idea that you can be a kind of persona on stage, or you don't have to kind of be like your basic normal self. You know, you can put on a show, you can you know, kind of try to be different characters.
And that's the thrill of being on stage, isn't it? Because I'm a bit shy as a mouse if somebody came to talk to me not in the street in general, but then you get up on stage and once you fight the inhibitions, it's like you're playing a different role. It's like it's not me, so I can express this. I don't care. And then get you back in your own shoes. It's like my friends try and get me on the karaoke all the time. I'm like, no.
I'm going to do karaoke for my birthday in a couple of days. So I mean, you're welcome to come.
Oh, bless you. I prefer to go to an open mic night where I'm not like pestered. I'm not like backing tracks just make me freeze. I'm like, I'm gonna like you're all along and they've gone on to the next chorus already.
I still love karaoke, but
so you said you took a little bit of break away from the music and to go and like find yourself, so to speak. So you did a little bit of humanitarian work. Do you want to tell us a little bit, just a little bit about that?
I've not exactly like done so much at the moment, but it is definitely something which I'm interested in doing. So I've kind of, the last 10 years or so, I've been involved in different like charity work and things, and it's just I feel like I've spent quite a bit of time just growing in myself as a person, having all these different kind of crazy life experiences. Particularly the last couple of years, I've been interested in a lot of things like censorship free social media platforms. There's a site called Noster which it's really interesting. I know this is going to go out on YouTube, and that's YouTube's great, but I've really been kind of like expanding my sort of life experiences, my knowledge about different things, and traveling to all these amazing places. I've done quite a bit of traveling, like mostly on my own, going to different events and things like around this sort of social media platform, and Bitcoin as well. So I've kind of been doing a lot of different things, but I kind of felt like it's good to now just take kind of all the things which I'm passionate about, and now I've got a lot more kind of experience in things that I know and want to do in the world. It kind of gives me even more motivation to be able to have hope, potentially some sort of platform where I can not only express creatively the things that I want to, but also do a bit of charity work and not exactly charity work, but different kind of humanitarian things that I want to
and the big Condo obviously get involved in lots of charity, and it's a course that I started was funded by a charity, and we were just talking to a previous artist. You're going to be involved in Reeby's charity event. You're going to be one of the artists on that one. Yes, it's all nice to kind of put back in, isn't it? So what brought you back really to your music from you having your time out? What was the drive behind that?
I had a few like life changes. I lived in York for a long time. Just really felt it was like a good time for a change after being there for quite a long time. And then obviously I just travelled all over the world to the different places, and I thought if I can do that, I can do other things and really just put a bit more effort into the things which I'm really passionate about, which is obviously music.
But art's quite it's hard sometimes to kind of admit to yourself, I'm an artist, I'm going to pursue that, because your peers behind you, like you're not going to get a proper job. It's hard to kind of stand into that role and really accept it, isn't it? And own it. So you probably just come to that stage in your life, it's like, right, hang on a minute, I've got this talent and I want to pursue it.
I think that's true. And I do feel like I'm kind of in quite a good place where I feel quite quite content in my life, but even though you might feel content, it's always good to like push yourself a little bit more and
definitely push yourself outside the box. That's what I try to do. So I think a lot of artists are similar, aren't they? Because I'm quite shy and I'm I wasn't an extrovert when I was younger, and everyone's kind of it's a similar story.
I think
it's nice to
sometimes
confidence grows.
Exactly. So
who was your influences when you were younger, music wise, and what influences your music now?
So I love kind of all different music from all different genres, all different sort of eras. So going back to like I like classical music, a bit of like rockabilly, kind of like 50s rock and roll kind of thing. Just like 60s, 70s, like kind of all the different eras. I think one of my favourite bands, Fleetwood Mac.
Everyone mentions Fleetwood Mac.
Everyone want to collaborate one day. That would be lovely.
Stevie!
Probably, we'll see.
So who do you listen to at the moment? Who's your influences at the moment, current day?
On my own music, I kind of feel like I get influences kind of from everywhere, really. So it just really depends.
What would you say your style's like?
My style, yeah, so kind of a mix of, I'd say maybe like a little bit Lady Gaga and Lana Del Rey. I don't really, you know.
Own it if that's what you feel like. I channel Marilyn Monroe on a daily basis. It's like no one's taking that away. I don't care.
I think she's amazing. I kind of feel like I've kind of drawn like subconsciously the name. I do think Marilyn Monroe is just amazing. She's an icon, and she was very much like in many ways very sort of feminist minded, very independent, you know, the way she
very
sort of,
ahead of her time.
Exactly. And I definitely think she's definitely a really interesting person who I think a lot of the time was quite misunderstood.
Don't really
but super talented.
I'm in the middle of writing a script about it all. Like,
so that's great.
And it's like we're here today still fighting that fight, like independence for women, women's rights, and like, you know, we've got a talent. We're not just curvy and beautiful and want to be stood in the kitchen sink looking after babies. We've got a voice and we want to be heard and taken seriously. I just wish to be a credible artist.
Exactly. And I think that's brilliant. And you know, I really I've only just kind of heard about Big Condo's like work with I think they've been doing some charity work, like, and obviously the event I'm involved with as well. So
it's nice to put back into it, isn't it?
So I think it's great to, if you have a bit of a platform and there are things that you're passionate about. I really feel like music has always been one of the key things, creative things like music has always been, you know, you think about the Beatles and the whole, you know, anti-war kind of peace, you know, hippie movement of like the 60s and 70s, you know, progression really. I feel like music and artists who can get that sort of emotive, you know, have that sort of emotive outlet to really
look at Dylan, his protests, all his songs.
He's a legend. I can't believe I missed him. He was in Liverpool. Just missed seeing him.
It's like, wow, God, I used to absolutely love Bob Dylan. Like, I just love his stories behind his music, and it was really fighting a cause, wasn't he?
And Nobel, you know, what did he win? Like the Nobel Prize for Literature or something?
I would imagine,
so that really, you know, that really speaks to me, that the you know, the level in which, you know, artists can.
We were talking about before, weren't we, as well as, you know, some people don't think about what comes after the fame and and the influence that they have with their music. 'Cause even I know Bob Dylan, he was stalked something rotten by one of his greatest fans, and they used to go find out where he lived and post letters through his door and really criticise everything that he does. But he was and we were talking about Chapeau Rome, weren't we? And so one thing about the Big Condo, the kind of that's what the guide is like. You need to know the industry behind the scenes as well. And as much as we're talking about Chapeau Rome, her lyrics are deep, she's complex, and there's something really good that she's offering. But it's, I don't think the confines and the trappings of fame, she was ready for that. And it's you know, but you were saying that you kind of got a grasp of what's expected, and you've kind of found yourself before you're going to attach yourself to a manager and be guided down the wrong path.
Thank you. I think that's a great point, you know, and I'm not too sort of like familiar with Chapeau Rome that much, but obviously, you know, she's got a great couple of banging tunes. But I did hear, you know, obviously she's I think spoken out a little bit about having that sort of boundaries, which, you know, it makes sense. I keep saying, you know, sorry. I mean, but I think that's definitely something which I think people often want to go into something, you know, to be successful. Obviously, especially if you're passionate about music, you know, it makes sense to want to be successful in whatever you, you know, you
and
love
fame
to do.
And publicity kind of comes with it all, doesn't it? Being able to be mentally prepared for that,
I
isn't
feel
it?
like, you know, now I've kind of had quite a bit of life experience. You know, I'm not the youngest person I would imagine to, you know, especially to work with Big Condo, but I just feel that does kind of help to give you, if you want to try and, you know, work on something to have any sort of, you know, potential level of success, then it does help to give you a bit more stability maybe, or at least have sort of ideas. Like, I obviously really would love to have a platform to... I
was going to say, what do you want to do with your platform?
Yeah, so there's so many things. I've been looking to start up like a kind of non-profit organisation that is going to be very sort of centred on anti-war, anti-violence, and looking to potentially, you know, just raise awareness about that kind of, which obviously I'm sure a lot of people do have, but really to kind of, I would really like to see that be something which is kind of pushed quite prominently, and potentially maybe
an artist for some reason. I know people think, oh, you think you are just an actress, but it gives you a platform, you have a voice, and if you can use it in a positive way and influence people positively,
exactly. And
it's a nice
I think definitely, a lot of people, who do a lot of work in charity work with Big Condo, which as I've just been watching some of the guys who have been talking about that today. I think it's incredible, and it's lovely to be able to combine the things that you're passionate about. And I always thought, I would like to have a bit more meaning to what I do, and so this organisation I'm really hoping to kind of get off the ground a little bit more, but look into maybe research into different sort of anti-war equipment, sort of protective equipment which is not like designed to cause harm. It sounds like a little bit ambitious maybe, but
why not?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see how it goes, but at least for kind of the start of it, to kind of promote much more idea focused on like anti-violence, anti-what, especially with
that's a humanitarian.
All the things kind of the kind of politically kind of what's going on. I won't talk too much about politics. So I there's a lot of events which I've heard about where artists are use their art to express, especially if they've been involved in, well, not involved in, been from, they've come from countries where there's been an extremely oppressive regime, or they've managed to escape from horrific circumstances, and I'm really hoping that at some point I will get to go to the Oslo Freedom Forum, which is amazing.
I know, because I know what you mean, because like following this group, they're based in Israel, but I thought, wow, at this moment in time, what's going on around them, they are really still creative, and they're still producing music, and they're still getting their message across and bringing people together.
I think that's incredible. And I have the utmost respect for people who, artists who have to work in those conditions, and the kind of experience that they have. It must be the work that they do is just so meaningful, I think, and I definitely think there's so much space for that in the world, and definitely I think they should be able to have their platforms to express themselves in that way. But I think it's amazing, even if you are not really familiar with the sort of situation that artists are in, if they are writing about that kind of experience, you can always draw from it. I think anyone who is just going through life generally, there's always some way you can be inspired or motivated, especially if people are going through such horrific circumstances which you can't really comprehend sometimes to some extent. I don't want to
so as an artist, Mallory Storm, where do you want to go with your music now? Where would you like to take it?
So I'm just working on my original things at the moment myself, so just working on some new tracks. Got some new things coming out soon, hopefully, fingers crossed, by the time this podcast will be out, then I will have some things on streaming platforms. So I've got so my demo album is called Tears of a Cloud.
Tears of a Cloud.
So it's kind of like a play on words, as you might have heard, Tears of a Clown, and obviously my name Storm, so it's like I've gone through quite a lot of different emotional things, and so it's kind of just a bit kind of like a bit of a play on the idea of having a sense of humour, the kind of more positive side of life, and then the depressing as well. Not that my music is that depressing. It's kind of like poppy, but had some different things.
So you've got an album. You've got an album worth of songs ready.
Yeah. So not quite ready yet. But it's getting there. So one of the first tracks is called Survive, and then we've got another couple. There's one called Miss Apocalyptia, which is one which I've sung first time at a Big Condo event. So it was a very basic backing track at that point in time, but we're working on it. So I'm working on it. Maybe some other people going to help a bit, but so
there's a bit of depth to your music and a bit to your lyrics. It's not
thank you. I mean, I like to think so. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm not quite Bob Dylan, but
no, but that's the kind of vibe. I like it.
But thank you. I do try to bring a little bit of depth to some of the songs. Not that there's anything wrong with having just a bit of an upbeat, kind of poppy.
I don't listen to necessarily dance music in the house, but I love it when I go out.
Exactly. So I kind of feel like it's a bit of a mix. I do some like folky, kind of more acousticy kind of sounding things as well. So
kind of thing.
but it's mostly kind of like a little bit poppy kind of stuff, which I like to think might be kind of chart kind of stuff, at some point in time. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's nice just to be eclectic, isn't it? And express all sides of your talent.
Yeah,
so you've already gigged with Big Condo a few times, and you've got the gig coming up with Riri for the charity event in February.
I'm really looking forward to that. So we've got another one on the 26th of January. So I'm not sure exactly when the podcast is like coming out, but it'll probably be around that sort of time, I think.
January,
so it probably will not have come just yet. So yeah, please come down.
But there are things to follow. Yeah, there's plenty to follow. Yeah. Where can we find you on your socials?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Mallory Storm Music. So it's just like all one thing. I don't know if maybe they can put a link on it or something.
I'm sure there'll be a link in the pod, but it's Mallory Storm.
Mallory Storm Music.
Mallory Storm Music, Mallory.
Yeah,
Mallory Storm Music.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And this will go out on YouTube, and we'll link it, and we can spread that out.
That would be lovely.
But it's been an absolute
so much.
pleasure speaking to you, and it's been
so
looking forward to following your little journey along the way as well.
So much.
It's been an absolute pleasure. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Big Condo Records podcast. I've been Hayley Jane, and this has been the lovely Mallory Storm. I love that name.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.